Now in this lesson I'm going to show you a very tasteful version of a darker and colorful 2-5-1 turnaround and a single 4-note arpeggio shape that can be used over the whole progression to create a colorful melodic line that outlines the minor 2-5-1 turnaround progression in a remarkable way. Now after watching this video your brain will never be the same, so don't say I didn't warn you. Now the arpeggio shape that we will use in this entire brain infusion looks like this. In the 5th position, the shape contains the notes A, B flat, D and E. The fingering is always the same and very easy, 1, 2, 1, 3. Now this arpeggio can be played in different ways, but the most obvious way is to repeat the shape in the next octaves. Now starting on the 6th string, it's played like this. And starting on the 5th string, which is a little less comfortable, it is played like this. Now coming up next, we'll see that every note in this shape can be the root of a very beautiful modal chord right after this. Now for every tutorial that I make, I publish a crystal clear ebook with supporting audio files that can be found in my ebook shop at qjamtracks.myshopify.com. So you can study offline or use it for teaching. Now before we go on with the actual 2-5-1 turnaround, let me show you just how versatile this little gem of a shape actually is, because every note in this 4-note arpeggio can act as a root of a different special type of chord. Now take your mama's hand because this is going to be traumatic. Now if you consider the first note A to be the root, then the chord that is implied by the notes A, B flat, D and E is an A sus4 flat 9 chord. Now A is the root, B flat is the flat 9th, D is the sus4 and E is the 5th. Now such an A sus4 flat 9 chord sounds like this. And you can hear a bit of a dark and even Spanish flamenco-like sound, right? And that is logical, because this chord is often associated with the Phrygian mode. And that has a dark minor character. And this is caused by that flattened 2nd degree. In this case that is the note B flat in the A Phrygian scale. So the 4-note arpeggio over this A sus4 flat 9 chord obviously sounds Phrygian, like this. Now if we consider B flat to be the root, then the resulting chord is a B flat major 7 flat 5 chord. B flat is the root, D is the major 3rd, E is the flat 5 or sharp 11, and A is the major 7th. Now the B flat major 7 flat 5 chord sounds like this. And the arpeggio over this chord sounds like this. Now maybe you heard that the overall sound reminds you of a Lydian mode. And if you don't, then, well, there must be other things that you're good at, right? No, just kidding. Anyways, the B flat is also the sharp 11. And that Lydian sound comes from that sharp 11 because in combination with a major 3rd and a major 7th degree, the sharp 11 is the characteristic note in the Lydian mode. If we consider the note D to be the root, then the chord that is implied by the arpeggio is a D minor flat 6-9 chord. But I would forget about this one because this feels much more like an inversion of the B flat major 7 chord. The minor flat 6 chord is rarely identified as such. So let's quickly head over to the next and last inversion of our 4-note arpeggio shape to close in on the final result. Now if we consider the note E to be the root, the resulting chord is a E half diminished chord with a suspended 4th degree, or short, an E minor 7 flat 5 sus4 chord. And this chord is often associated with the Locrian mode. E is the root, A is the suspended 4th degree, B flat is the diminished 5th, and D is the minor 7th. Now this chord sounds like this. And the arpeggio played over this chord sounds like this. So until now we have one shape that leads to 3 different types of arpeggios. Now coming up next is the arpeggio played over 2 other root notes that are not found within the arpeggio shape. And this creates another set of colorful and spicy chords that we'll need for the final result. Now we can play the 4-note shape over 2 other root notes too. And we will need this in a minute for our dark 2-5-1 turnaround. Now the first new root note lies a whole step lower than the arpeggio shape itself. Playing the shape in the 5th position over the bass note G creates a brand new G minor 6-9 chord, which could be the mysterious James Bond tonic chord of the G melodic minor, for instance. Now G is the root, A is the 9th, B flat is the minor 3rd, D is the 5th and E is the minor 6th. The major 6th is the modal trigger note or characteristic note in the Dorian mode. Playing the arpeggio A, B flat, G, E over a G bass or G minor 6-9 chord sounds like this. The other possibility is playing the arpeggio A, B flat, G, E over an F sharp bass note. And this creates an F sharp dominant 7 sharp 5 sharp 9 arpeggio, which we call an altered dominant arpeggio. And this is a very dissonant sonic experience and inevitably leads to a chord to which it resolves. Now F sharp altered would typically resolve to the B minor 7 chord because F sharp and B have a 5-1 relationship. The note F sharp is the root. The note A is the sharp 9 because it's enharmonic equal to G double sharp. The B flat is the major 3rd because it's enharmonic equal to the A sharp. And the note D is the sharp 5 because it's enharmonic equal to the C double sharp. And the note E is the dominant 7th. Now this F sharp dominant 7 sharp 5 sharp 9 chord sounds and looks like this. The F sharp dominant sharp 5 sharp 9 arpeggio over this chord sounds like this. So now we have enough material to use the same arpeggio shape over the 2-5-1 turnaround and create some serious color. But first I want to show you a quick recap of the 5 possibilities with this shape. And we can play this shape over the root A, resulting in an A sus4 flat 9 arpeggio. And we can use the B flat as the root, resulting in a B flat major 7 sharp 11 arpeggio. And we can use the note E as a root, resulting in an E minor 7 flat 5 sus4 arpeggio. Now using the G as a root, we'll create a G minor 6-9 arpeggio, and using the F sharp as a root, we'll create the dominant altered arpeggio, F sharp dominant 7 sharp 5 sharp 9. The 2-5-1 in the minor key has a typical sound, and in its basic form, for instance, in the key of D minor it looks like this. The 2nd degree is the E minor 7 flat 5 chord. And the 5th degree is always a dominant chord and, in this case, A dominant 7 chord. And the tonic chord is always a minor chord and most of the time a minor 7 chord, so in this case a D minor 7 chord. This minor 2-5-1 in the key of D minor sounds like this. Now if we want to play our shape over the 2 chord in D minor, which is the E minor 7 flat 5 chord, then we have to play the arpeggio starting on the note A in the 5th position. In the overview you can see that the root E is the root of the E minor 7 flat 5 sus4 chord. The sus4, or call it the 11th, the note A, adds a nice color and tension to the sound. Now over the dominant 5 chord, in a minor key it's nice to play an altered sound. So an A altered chord in D minor. And in the overview we can see that the root of the altered chord lies a minor 3rd lower than the lowest note of our shape. The distance from F sharp to A is a minor 3rd. So to find the A dominant 7 sharp 5 sharp 9 arpeggio, we'll have to play the 4-note arpeggio a minor 3rd up from the root A. So the shape should start on the note C with the notes C, D flat, F and G. Now these notes are enharmonic equal to B sharp, which is the sharp 9, C sharp, which is the major 3rd, E sharp, which is the sharp 5, and G, which is the minor 7th. over the tonic chord, we can choose for a tiny deviation of the shape by playing an F major 7 arpeggio over the D minor 7 chord, creating a D minor 9 arpeggio. And that works because F minor 7 is the upper structure of the D minor 9 chord. Now this F major 7 arpeggio starts on the note E, and that is the major 7th of the F major 7 chord and is located in the 7th position. 7, 7, 7. Or, if you don't want to adapt the arpeggio shape and keep it the way it is, then play a D minor 6 chord with a Dorian feel, because the note B in the original shape is the major 6th in D minor, and that is the Dorian trigger note. To create a turnaround, we'll use the B minor 7 flat 5 chord, and that is the 6th degree and leads back to the 2 chord, the E minor 7 flat 5 chord. Now we know that the last note of the 4-note shape is the root of the minor 7 flat 5 sus4 arpeggio, or call it the minor 7 flat 5 11th arpeggio, whatever. So we can start the shape in the 7th position to play this arpeggio. Now the chord progression that is the result from all this is now E minor 7 flat 5 sus4, to A dominant 7 sharp 5 sharp 9, to D minor 9, to B minor 7 flat 5 sus4 to start all over again. So here's the final result of this extended chord extravaganza. Now I'll play the arpeggios just up and down over the chords to get an idea. But it's good for you to use your creativity to do more than that, to keep your listeners' attention. An alternative would be to repeat some shapes in the same octave and move them over the neck to the right position. Well, the rest is up to you. Now don't forget to subscribe if you like these kind of lessons. And please leave a comment and tell me what you think about this concept. Maybe you have additions or elaborations. Just put them here in the comments. For additional tabs, examples and backing tracks, just go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/qjamtracks. Now I hope this was crystal clear, and I'll see you next time. Bye!